My amplified unit, red team, go! Before we get into Smackdown, August 6th, 2021, we gotta talk about some breaking NXT news that has swept the wrestling world up in a frenzy. 12 releases, hours to minutes before Smackdown went live last night. 12 releases, including some of the bigger names. Bronson Reed, released from NXT. Leon Ruff. Tyler Rust. Mercedes Martinez. Bobby Fish. Jake Atlas. All released, among others. Again, some just minutes before SmackDown hit the airwaves. And this all started with a big meeting we heard about between Adam Cole, baby, and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. No, the meeting wasn't Triple H and Adam Cole. That's not what we were hearing. We were hearing a meeting with Vince McMahon before SmackDown goes live. It makes a lot more sense now, doesn't it? It wasn't just Adam Cole. No. Half of the NXT roster probably met with Vince McMahon and Triple H, and it was determined who needs to go and who they're going to keep. Going forward, Adam Cole was just the mainstay. He was the main dude. He was the guy with the contract expiring that is not so expendable. The guy who can truly make a splash anywhere else he goes. Triple H knows he can't really afford to lose that dude. But Adam Cole was just the peak of that iceberg. The cherry on top. It was a whole lot of individuals from NXT that were meeting their maker last night when they stepped in front of Vince McMahon. And the wrestling world is befuddled, right? And the main name that everyone's just distraught about, befuddled about, is Bronson Reed. But BC is gonna have to drop some truth on you guys, man. Bronson Reed, I know you may like him, and that's great. And he's got some talent. And for a dude his size, some damn good skill. But when you're talking about a larger-than-life superstar, the charisma, that personality that jumps off of that screen, it was never in Bronson Reed. He was another Funkasaurus, let's be honest. When he captured that North American Championship, BC told you that. When he dropped the championship and we thought he was going to the main roster, BC said, I'm just not seeing it with Bronson. I said, if Vince McMahon doesn't know what to do with Keith Lee, do you really think he's going to know what to do with Bronson Reed? I always put him in the category of the Funkasaurus. Now, granted, when it comes to actual skill, I would give Bronson Reed more benefit of the doubt. When it comes to skill, Bronson Reed possesses more. And again, for his size, pretty damn cool, but he was never going to get farther than a Funkasaurus. In fact, when it comes to charisma, Funkasaurus had more. So Bronson Reed is the big name that everybody is befuddled about, but in all honesty, when he got to the main roster, guys, it was going to be a slow death anyway. This way, instead of just peeling back that Band-Aid real slowly so it really hurts, every hair gets pulled out, and every centimeter you keep going with that Band-Aid, it hurts more and more. Why not just rip that son of a bitch right off? What they did for Bronson Reed is going to help that dude going forward, and it's really not going to hurt the company that much. It's just not going to. He was never going to move the pendulum or the needle. He was not going to be a huge difference maker or money maker. And we know this because when he captured that North American title, nothing changed for NXT. I know that's hard to take in because we like the dude. But if anything, everybody wins here. Rip off the Band-Aid. Vince McMahon went and saw him and Karrion Kross. Vince McMahon personally seeked out those two dudes. So we thought it was a foregone conclusion. Kross and Bronson were going to show up in the main roster at some point. And sure enough, Karrion does, and Karrion's been being embarrassed ever since. Karrion's had 3 matches. He's lost 2 out of the 3. He's your NXT champion. So it's clear Vince McMahon brought him up, took away his wife, took away his main squeeze, took away his lady friend, took away his sidekick in Scarlett, and totally has been jobbing this dude out. Embarrassing him. He calls it humbling the NXT talent so they know things aren't like they used to be in NXT. It's different on the main roster, and they're not running things. But he's not just humbling them, he's embarrassing them, and he ruined Karrion Kross. I'm not going to say he's buried yet, but it's going to take a lot to dig him out of the hole that Vince has already placed Karrion Kross in. The second dude that was supposed to be called up was Bronson Reed. Maybe Vince knew, he had a revelation that he knew he wasn't going to be able to do anything with Bronson because he doesn't know what to do with somebody like Bronson. And Bronson, charisma-wise, was never going to move the pendulum anyway. Bronson was never a fit for WWE. And that's the truth. It sucks. We like the dude. He didn't move the pendulum in NXT. He wasn't going to move it on the main roster. And that was the next step. Vince had already seeked him out. That's what was going to happen. Maybe Bronson told Vince, I don't want to do this. No disrespect. I thank you for the opportunity. And Vince was like, well, all right, you ain't going back to NXT. We're cutting ties here then. You don't want to be a part of my main roster? I find that disrespectful. But Bronson's like, no, because I know what's going to happen when I get there. It's not about who's to blame, man. This was not, none of these names are huge money makers. I know that sucks to hear. We like a lot of these dudes. It doesn't make sense, and that's my biggest issue with this. Not that we trimmed the fat. This needed to happen. I've been saying this for how long on this channel? For so long, Vince McMahon has gobbled up all of this talent like Pac-Man, so people like Tony Khan can't get the talent. Now Vince's new motto is, all right, they're going to go out and get all my ex-talent anyway. You know what? Let's just feed them. And I think Vince McMahon honestly disrespects Tony Khan so much that he thinks Tony is going to get all these talents and the ship is going to have so much weight on it, it's going to eventually sink. Just like WCW, Vince will be there to pick up all the leftovers and purchase AEW. What he's not taking under consideration is that Tony Khan is a lot more smarter than Eric Bischoff back in the day. Tony Khan learned from Bischoff's mistakes, and Turner, and everybody that was in charge. Tony Khan can juggle WWE talent with his homegrown talent. He can move the puzzle pieces around to where he needs them to fit perfectly. Tony Khan is not somebody to be taken lightly. Vince McMahon literally does not see them as competition. I truly now firmly believe that he thinks that Tony Khan is just going to ruin this sooner, much rather than later. He's in for a rude awakening. Tony Khan has not shown anybody that that is one of his weaknesses, to make poor choices to the point where the AEW ship is going to sink. I just don't see Tony Khan making those type of decisions. Yes, a lot of WWE talent is being swept up by Tony Khan in AEW because it's deservingly so. Not only does the talent deserve to be on a stage like AEW because they were so damn misused in WWE and we know their worth, their value, but also the company can far benefit way more by having these talents than not having them in their company. The problem with AEW, just like we're talking about WWE, is yes, it gets to a point of how much is too much talent. I have no problem with it being WWE talent. They have a lot of ex-WWE talent. Again, it's justified. They're great professional wrestlers. They shouldn't be hindered or not offered a deal because they were in WWE. No, my problem is, when is enough talent? AEW is already there. That's the problem. And now they're getting Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. And if they're able to get Bray Wyatt, you know they have to get Bray Wyatt. But Murphy belongs there because just think about what he can do for AEW and how perfectly a guy like Murphy fits there. So now you're talking Bryan, Punk, Murphy, Wyatt. We're still trying to place Christian Cage and Hangman into the title scene. Hangman just got the boot from the title picture. Christian is getting fast-tracked now into it. Where do you place Mox when he separates from Kingston? What about your homegrown talent? The Darby Allins, the Jungle Boys, the Orange Cassidys, the Lance Archers, Brian Cage. I mean, you can go on and on. I mean, this is what you got to start thinking. It's a lot of fucking talent. Back over to the WWE side of things, when Vince McMahon was just trying to gobble up all of the independent scene and all the big names out there, his strategy then was just keep these talents from Tony Khan. Now he realizes he's not going to be able to do that, so now he's trying to give Tony all these talents. Tony Khan is not going to take, I bet you Tony takes none of these motherfuckers. And that's not shade to any of them. We like most of them. We hope they land jobs and can provide for themselves and their families. I don't see how Tony Khan can take any of these individuals. Neither one of them are true money makers to the point where they're going to move the pendulum. And on top of that, Tony Khan is filled to the max. And even then, he's still going to be bringing in big names over the next couple of months. I digress. My original point, Vince McMahon had to trim the fat. This was the problem of Vince McMahon, and this is him having to clean up his own mess. Eventually, these names were going to have to, and more. There's more too. Don't be shocked if there's a second round coming within the next 7 days. You never like to see people lose their jobs, but this many people should never have been in the organization to begin with. You filled your WWE bubble until it was about to burst. So we could bang our dome pieces against the cement wall all day and act like Bronson Reed was some amazing talent, but he just wasn't. He was another Funkasaurus type. He never moved the pendulum. His charisma was bare minimum. He's a good dude. We'd have a beer with him, have a coffee, shoot the shit, talk some wrestling, talk some baseball, who knows? But Bronson Reed was never going to be main eventing WrestleMania or even an in-your-house pay-per-view. Going forward, it was never going to happen. Mercedes Martinez, yeah, that takes me back a little because they hired Mercedes Martinez, I thought, to really help out a lot of the younger talents as well. You're talking about somebody who's over the age of 40, correct? With a lot of experience. I thought there was many reasons. That's the thing, man. It's not just about they're not money makers, right? The fact that these individuals were cut, it doesn't necessarily shock me too much. At some point, you were going to have to trim your fat. What shocks me is the carelessness, the recklessness of this company and the old bastard in Stanford of just not having a plan. Like nothing making sense, right? Bronson Reed, you had him win the North American Championship. He drops it 2 months ago. Vince McMahon goes down to personally see him and Karrion, so you know they see big things, or at least they thought. And then 2 months later, they're like, no, we changed our mind, we're going to release you. Or again, did Bronson say, no, thank you? I saw what you did to Karrion. But the fact that they thought they saw something in Bronson and gave him a little bit of the rocket, took the title off of him, and then released him. Now, is it because that they saw that the numbers didn't go up? They saw that money was not moving in the right direction. Viewership did not move at all, maybe went backwards with Bronson Reed segments. Could be. Maybe they broke down the numbers and they saw that Bronson wasn't captivating. It's still just befuddling how so quickly you can go from champion to fired, champion to released. Mercedes Martinez is another one who you think they had a plan to really help out a lot of the other females, and instead, just like Mickie James, you know, she reaches over the age of 40 and they start looking at her like over the hill when Mickie James can run circles around the majority of these individuals still to this day. And Mercedes Martinez now takes off. I still felt that she had a lot to offer. Huge moneymaker? Pendulum swinger? No. But I feel she had something more to offer, but they felt like she needed to be into the package deal of releases. Such is life, man. It has to be done. It was going to be her or somebody else, but it's just befuddling that they put in the time and then they just snapped their fingers and released them. Bobby Fish was in the most well-known group of NXT history, Undisputed Era, and snap of a finger, blink of an eye, drop of a hat, Bobby Fish is gone. I believe Bobby Fish is also over the age of 40, correct? So maybe they looked at him as a liability instead of a reliability. But Bobby Fish was at one point in the biggest group in NXT, Undisputed Era, and just like that, he is gone. And Tyler Rust. Wasn't Tyler Rust just in the Diamond Mine? I mean, is he just that replaceable? Did they really see nothing at all in this kid? And they felt like he had to be in this package deal. I guess so. Jake Atlas, we heard that he was one of Shawn Michaels' premier aspects, right? Shawn Michaels was really high on Jake Atlas. We just heard that just a few months ago. Here we are a few months later. Jake Atlas is part of this unit that is being cut. So that's what shocks BC the most, is just how fast. It's scary as fuck to think for these talents how fast they can go from high on you to down on you. And it trickles all the way, man. It starts from the top. Shit trickles from the top. And shit always trickles down. It starts with the old bastard in Stanford, right? You look at Otis. That's just one example of so many. Most of the roster. You could speak about it just like I'm going to say with Otis. But Otis wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. You think he's going to have the rocket strapped to him for the longest of times. I mean, they're putting everything behind Otis. And just a month after Otis wins that briefcase, you start to see, weeks after I should say, you start to see the booking of Otis go backwards. And then within 2 months, you see the briefcase going right over to The Miz. And Otis is being told to repackage himself down in NXT. So you're like, wait, he was about to win the championship. You just had him win the briefcase. Possibly going to win the title. And instead, he's going back to NXT and now you don't know what to do with him. He was a stone's throw away from being released. And then who else? Man, we went over Leon Ruff. I mean, again, not money makers here by any means. But if you follow NXT and you see the investment in somebody like Leon Ruff, at first you thought this dude was just going to be a straight jobber the way he was being used. Then they started booking him like, all right, they're going to try to make... Remember Caden Carter? Excuse me, another swig of coffee is needed. Caden Carter was like that for the females, guys. She started off, you thought she was going to be straight jobber status, and then you started to see them actually giving her the time of day. Caden Carter became a big part of that women's roster. Well, Leon Ruff was on that trajectory. And then boom, snap of a finger, blink of an eye, drop of a hat, there goes Leon Ruff. So again, man, the fact that a bulk of names, 12 names, some of them bigger than others, no doubt, most of them, we like them. And it sucks they lost their job, no doubt. Most of them, very talented. But I'm not shocked that this happened. It was going to be a bulk amount. Which names are included in that dozen? In that 12? You know, that's something we just had to kind of sit back and wait and see. We knew there was going to be some heavy hitters. But these are not huge money makers, guys. I know it sucks. I know you want to say, BC, come on, man, not true. Or I disagree, BC. But you can disagree all you want. I've done my research, guys. I break down the numbers. I go into the ratings for segments. I look at the money draws. You know, these are things you do have to look at in business. That's not what shocks me is they got cut. What shocks me and what pisses me off is the irresponsibility of this company. The pathetic decision-making. The carelessness. The recklessness. That's what pisses me off, because these are not just characters on TV. These are human beings that play these characters, and they literally just take a shit on their own talent. And at this point, I'm putting Triple H in the same damn regime as Vince McMahon, because to allow all of this to happen and either A, not say a word, or B, say something to the old bastard and he just shuts you down. If the old bastard has that much little respect for you that he just shuts you down and punishes you every time you speak out and speak up, then I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that motherfucker. I would take a gamble on myself. Triple H has so much millions, bro. In stocks alone, he can cash in for millions. He doesn't need Vince McMahon. And if somebody was disrespecting me to the point, I don't care if it's my father-in-law or my straight-up father. If someone's disrespecting me like that, I'm out. So at this point, I absolutely blame Triple H as well. Because you're just an enabler now. If you see Karrion Kross being booked the way he is, you built that son of a bitch up to be a jobber on the main roster? All these talents that you gobbled up like Pac-Man was just a bulk release them? You just sit back and let it happen. You're an enabler at that point. So I'm not shocked that there is actually cuts. I'm not shocked at the names too much, to be honest. None were money makers or pendulum movers, but I'm shocked at the carelessness that it even got to this point. The fact that they signed all of these individuals and there's still a plethora that need to be cut because there's still a bubble that's ready to burst at any moment. They're still overcrowded in NXT and the main roster. But I am fucking taken back that it got to that point that they actually hired that many people when they knew they had no plans for them. They knew they weren't going to be able to actually utilize them correctly. And then the carelessness keeps going when they tell Bronson Reed, we see something in you, we're going to put the title on you. And then they're shocked that he didn't bring in money. He didn't bring in viewers. They're shocked. All you have to do is listen to BC. I like Bronson, but he was never going to be a mover. He never should have been in a fucking championship spot. Not at that realm when NXT is dropping viewers by the week, it seemed, and getting crushed by AEW, and Bronson Reed was your answer? I would take Johnny Gargano keeping that title way over Bronson Reed. Again, you may not like what BC's saying, but I have facts to back up my shit. I have the viewership. I have the numbers. I have the money that was brought in during Bronson's title reign. And another reason why that may have been made. But it didn't have to be that way. If you utilize Bronson to his benefits, to his strengths, Bronson could still be with the company and he could be utilized in a way where he's benefiting and he's benefiting NXT. Instead, they thrusted him into a championship run. So he looks like the bad guy when asses weren't brought into the seats. Like he's the only one. He's the sole reason why NXT was failing. No, but he's going to be the scapegoat. I hope you guys are keeping track, man. It may seem all over the place, but when you have 12 names that got released, BC has a lot to say, and this cold open is about to be 25 fucking minutes long. So I'm going to end it like that. I have so much more to say. I know this has been kind of all around as it is, but we'll find out more about these releases. We'll find out what was said, hopefully, or at least the bulk of what was said when these wrestlers do shoot interviews. You know, maybe some of them asked to be released. Maybe Bronson was going to the main roster and he's like, fuck no. Who knows? None of these were huge money makers. None of these were pendulum movers. I am still pissed off, however, because it got to this fucking point that we have to do these bulk releases. And again, the questionable decision making. 1 minute you're telling these individuals that you have all these plans for them, and the next minute they're being fired or released, kicked to the curb, swept up into obscurity and irrelevancy. That's what pisses me off. The fact that it got to this point. Anyway, that's the NXT breaking news, guys. That broke again minutes before SmackDown hit the airwaves last night. Which brings us to our next part of business. That is SmackDown, August 6, 2021. The full review starts right now. And we are out and about storming the world, so we are in audio format only. I want to give a special thanks to everybody that caught that late stream right before SmackDown went on to the airwaves. BC hit everybody with a live stream, and we talked John Cena finally telling the truth about WWE and letting Vince McMahon know the truth. We talked about that. We talked about Melina coming back into a big title match. We also talked about the Adam Cole situation in depth, even Darby Allin, and a whole lot more. Thank you guys for catching that live stream and showing the love to that live stream, man. It means a lot to know that we went on without any real warning an hour before the show, and thousands of you guys ended up catching that already, man. Much love to my AMP unit, the baddest some bitches in the wrestling community, the very best of the best. You can find it right here on this channel, man. The BC subs, the AMP unit, top of the top. Sasha Banks, speaking of top of the top, starts this show off. Smackdown, August 6, 2021. We're recapping the turn and the beating that Banks gave Belair last week. She says, if not for her, there'd be no Mania main event for Belair. There'd be no ESPYs. There'd be no spotlight on Belair. This obviously brings out Bianca Belair. Belair hits the ring, and may I say, her quantity of sexy last night was Costco-sized. Her and Sasha, brah. BC don't need no Eva Marie. Sasha and Bianca equal fuck yeah! Speaking of beautiful, man, Zelina Vega then hits the ring. Belair says, oh no, don't you even think about getting in this ring. So Zelina says, all right, fine, I'll stay out here. But hold on. Last week, you agreed to a match with me. Here you are playing around with Sasha. So Bianca says, and I quote, let's solve it like this. Sasha, I'll see you at SummerSlam. And Zelina, I'll fight you tonight. That is how you book Bianca. Straight badass. As Negan would say from The Walking Dead, that's cool. Pretty badass to see Bianca being badass, man. She's really coming into her own. This is her time, man. There were some naysayers when she won the title. Some people saying it wasn't her time. And it's funny to hear stupidity in real time, because I was thinking, nah, this is the perfect time. And Bianca's whooping that ass of the main roster. It's so damn good to see. Moving on, first matchup of the night. This was Jey Uso defeating Dominic Mysterio via the Frog Splash. This was actually a decent match, and even better, it didn't end with a fruit roll-up. Everybody wins here, right? Especially the fans. The flip side, however, is I can't stand how the only way this company builds to a pay-per-view tag team title match is by having all members of both tag teams in a plethora of one-on-one matches every week. And also by having both teams actually face each other, most of the time, more than once. So in other words, by the time you get to the actual match at the pay-per-view, both teams we have seen faced each other 2 or 3 times in tag team bouts, and every other show, one-on-one matches. The point is, by the time you get to the pay-per-view match, we've already seen them fight each other every single show. There's nothing left to see. Can't stand that. At some point, they're going to have to put thought and creativity into how to build actual title match feuds. I digress. At least it was a decent match between Uso and Dominic. And again, you're going to get this tag title match, the same 2 teams we've seen before. You're going to get this again for the titles at SummerSlam. Speaking of titles, the IC title holder was up next. Apollo, he loses a match via DQ in just 2 minutes, by the way, to Shinsuke Nakamura. And I'm pretty sure, by the way, Shin's entire entrance was longer than the match itself with Apollo. And on top of that, I disagree wholeheartedly with champions losing matches, even if it's like this, man. Just keep them off of a match for the show then. Don't have them in a match if they're just going to lose. Because I'm not sure that a DQ loss in just 2 minutes is any better than him flat on his back looking up at the lights. It still makes your IC title holder look like a clown. Moving on, man, moving on. Paul Heyman. Oh, let's talk about this. You want to talk right? BC, where's the positivity, man? You're always negative, dude. Well, here's some positivity for you. His name is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman gave a great backstage promo, man, with Kayla Braxton backstage, man. Well, I already said backstage, right? Does that make any sense? He gave a great backstage promo backstage. Yeah, that makes sense, BC. Have another swig of coffee. No, I actually am. I'm going to have another swig of coffee. Hold on, guys. I got a fucking iced coffee now. All right. I'm back now. Let's try this again. Paul Heyman gave a great backstage promo with Kayla Braxton. He says, and I quote, "This title match for his Roman versus John Cena at SummerSlam," he says, "this is a joke." And I love the analogy. Paul Heyman says, and I quote, "If the Tampa Bay Schmuccaneers just signed Tom Brady for one more year for $75 million, I can't just come in, attack Tom Brady with a kendo stick, and sign my name on his $75 million contract. Can I, Kayla?" And Kayla's like, "No, I don't think that's going to work." And Paul Heyman's like, "Exactly. This is a joke. A farce that it even got to this far. That he could just do that to Finn Balor, sign his name, and everybody's okay with it." So I love this because it is befuddling to us, right? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. That can't happen. The contract says one person's name. A wrestler comes out, crosses out, and puts his name on it. I enjoy the most part of how it was done last week. The one part that I'm still not all for is I wish they could have went about that a little bit better. Like a little bit more resistance to John Cena signing his name on it. Instead, Adam Pearce, a.k.a. Triple Threat Thompson, and Sonya Deville, they were just like, "Well, Paul, that's what it says. It says Cena. See this?" A little bit more resistance would have been nice. But I love Paul Heyman's analogy here, man, with the Tom Brady. You know, if I just attack him with a kendo stick and sign my name, do I get his $75 million? Man, it was just epic for Paul Heyman. And as he goes to walk away, Big E is standing there just laughing, basically reminding Paul about the briefcase. So just reminding Paul Heyman, Big E, is that John Cena is only half of your worries. The other half is sitting in this briefcase if I decide to cash in. So Big E, man, everything about that backstage promo, man, had such significance, and it was really well done. And that's what I mean. Sometimes you don't have to move mountains to have a good segment on the show. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a match in the ring or some big promo spot. Sometimes you just get a little creative, have the right people there, and execute brilliantly, and you're going to have something that we're going to talk positively on. It's a crazy concept, I know. Imagine if they did that more than once in a show. Moving on, Shotzi Blackheart then rides Tegan Nox to the ring in a damn mini tank. That's right, you heard those words correctly. Tegan and Tamina Snuka have about a 70-second match, ending with Shotzi shooting a Nerf rocket at Tamina from the tank, and Tegan hits Tamina with the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Root Roll-Up. The Fruit Roll-Up, man. Tegan Nox, still brand new to the roster, but she picked up quick. She knows that the easiest way to beat anybody, and again, I think this match was about, approximately 70 seconds? Tegan Nox knows if you're going to win in WWE, you have to win with the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Fruit Roll-Up. JR9 Gaming, you know what to do with that, man. Put that son of a bitch right into the statistics. Basically, if you want creativity in your TV show, folks, WWE is the show for you. We hardly ever see matches end in a roll-up of doom. So this was very original. Let's just move on, because I can spend a half an hour on how fucking much it pisses me off, but they're not going to listen. They're going to keep doing fruit roll-ups of doom. Because the casual fans are sitting there, man, with their wooden bowl going, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" And Vince McMahon's going to be right there every time. "Of course, there's enough bullshit stew for all of you. Who wants seconds, thirds, 400ths? And little Timmy and little Tommy are going to keep rolling in line. "I want seconds, I want seconds." Right there with their wooden fucking bowl. Anyway, I'm not going to spend another half an hour on this fruit roll-up. Let's move on to Edge. Edge starts hour number 2. Great back and forth promo between he and Rollins, who was up on the Tron. Rollins wanted no part of being in front of Edge in the middle of the ring, so he was up on the Tron. They went at each other hard, man. Edge said, and I quote, "You're just Edge light." And Rollins flips out. He's like, "I'm not light anything. I agree to a SummerSlam match with you." Because at first, Edge wanted a match at SummerSlam, but Rollins was like, "I'll think about it, but I don't think so." He goes, "Maybe you should think about it, Edge. Do you really want a match with me?" And that's when Edge just was like, "Nah, you're just pissed because for all these years you've been trying to fill my boots. And you realize recently you're just not going to be able to fill these boots. You're just Edge light." And again, that's what flipped out Seth Rollins. And I think that's a pretty cool way. We already knew that was coming to SummerSlam. So far, I've been loving the build between these two. We just needed to confirm it. And I think this was a good... Again, simplistic, but really good way to confirm that SummerSlam match. And that's one of the matches that I'll definitely be looking forward to. Moving on, Street Profits defeat the Dirty Dogs, Rude and Ziggler. Montez Ford hits a frog splash for the W onto Ziggler. And that was the second frog splash victory of the night, counting Jey Uso's earlier over Dominic. I'm cool with that, man. That's cool with me because I'll take multiple frog splashes over multiple roll-ups any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Bianca Belair's out next. Just as aforementioned in hour 1, Bianca Belair is in there with Zelina Vega, and Belair defeats Vega via the KOD. And obviously, this was the right call. That is your champion. I hate seeing champions lose, even non-title matches. It's not right. I love Zelina. I hate seeing her lose right now. But if you're putting them together, this is an obvious answer here. It has to be Bianca Belair. And by the way, first and foremost, congrats to Belair. Great W. You know how big of a fan I am of Belair. But also, BC is giving major respect to Vega. It takes two to tango. They went nearly 15 minutes in there, and Vega hung every second with Bianca. I could not be more proud of her. A damn good match. A lot of people that passed Vega off upon her return were reminded of her value last night. Very proud of Zelina Vega, not just Bianca, man. Both ladies went in there. They gave them an ample amount of time, and they delivered. Good shit. It's good shit. Vince probably didn't even see it. He was too busy fucking releasing Triple H's talent. Main event, Finn Balor versus Broke Baron Corbin. This was a quick match, man. Maybe right up there with Shotzi, Blackheart, Tegan Nox and Tamina Snuka in that roll-up victory match. This match was a little longer, but not by much. Balor defeats Broke Baron. Balor gets on the mic post-match and says he's not smiling anymore. He wants Roman Reigns. Man, I love that because for past couple of years now, BC has been saying, I'm done with smiley pop collar Finn Balor. Like, I'm waiting for the Demon to come back, man. He is a superstar. Finn Balor, regular pop collar smiley Finn, he's good, right? I mean, superstar-wise, he can capture your interest. He's fun to watch. But the Demon is a bona fide, right from the jump superstar. Like, unequivocally. Like, a casual fan can just show up, flipping through the channels, and they're gonna stop when the Demon is coming out during an entrance. Yeah, BC, it's the same guy, man. Most of the same moves. The character doesn't mean anything. The character absolutely means that. What are you talking about, man? Husky Harris is one thing, but when you see The Fiend, it's a totally different vibe. You see Mark Calloway, Mean Mark in WCW, and then you see The Undertaker in WWE. What do you mean the character isn't everything? Absolutely, it's everything. Undertaker is very different than Mean Mark Calloway. The Repo Man is different than Smash of Demolition. Character changes. You look at Isaac Yankem, DDS. Do you remember the dentist, DDS, Isaac Yankem? That was Kane. Now you look at Kane, how we know him. Well, Kane and Isaac Yankem DDS, yeah, different vibe, right? Isaac Yankem DDS was just not a bona fide superstar when you saw him debut. He just wasn't. You were kind of laughing at it, actually. But when Kane came in his debut and he ripped open that cell door, brah, he was a bona fide superstar from the jump. So don't tell me that the Demon, it's the same thing as Pop Color, BC. No, it's not, man. It's totally not. Please do your research, man. I've been watching 30 years of this shit plus. I know that the character so much rides on a damn solid character. Finn Balor created this Demon, and it's epic. And for some reason, he claims he doesn't want to rest on it. Bro, start resting on it. You can't go any lower. Vince McMahon saw nothing in you. They brought you to NXT. It was only supposed to be a couple months. They ended up keeping you there because they had nothing for you anyway. And you wanted to be there because you knew they had nothing for you. So you get back to the main roster. You're just going to end up jobbing to Roman Reigns. He's not going to actually defeat Roman Reigns. You guys know that. So then what? Then it's back to the drawing board. You might as well bring back the Demon at some point, bro. Anyway, where am I going with all this? He got on the mic after he beat Broke Baron, and he literally says he's not smiling anymore, which was what BC has been pleading for him to stop for years, so that was music to BC's ears. I'm not smiling anymore, and he wants Roman Reigns, so be careful what you ask for. Sometimes you just may get it, and Roman hits the ring. Before he gets actually through the ropes, the Usos jump Balor. Roman walks away thinking the Usos are going to get the job done, but Balor overtakes the Usos. This forces Roman to come back to the ring, where he and the Usos finished Balor off once and for all. You gotta see the frog splash from Jey Uso onto Balor at the end of this thing, guys. It was unreal. If you didn't catch it, I would go back and catch at least the end of SmackDown, because I believe it was Jey Uso. Yeah, because Jimmy placed Balor, I believe. So I'm going to say Jey Uso. Top rope. Balor is totally crooked. I mean, he's like opposite way of how a regular frog splash would be. Jey Uso gave 0 fucks. He is so confident in his skill. He fucking leaped. I thought Montez Ford was easily going to have the best frog splash of the night. No. Uso, top rope, adjusts his entire body 180 and connects solid onto Balor, bro. One of the best frog splashes I've ever seen. It would make Eddie Guerrero so damn proud. And we go off the air with the Roman Empire, him and the Usos, standing over a defeated and depleted Finn Balor. So this is not done. Once Cena is done, once Roman Reigns takes care of Cena at SummerSlam, Finn Balor will be taking on Roman, man. And after he loses that, I hope we start seeing the Demon thereafter. But I like the way that the champion Roman Reigns was used here. John Cena was not available last night, so I like how they inserted Balor for a future matchup and made Roman Reigns look pretty damn strong. Usos as well in the process. Name's BC Amplified. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, man. I'm going to cut you guys loose a little bit earlier today. I know the cold open was 25 fucking minutes, probably the length of the entire SmackDown review, but we had a lot to talk about with those releases. Hopefully I was able to keep this under an hour for you guys, man. I know I hit you with a lot of multi-hour live streams. Man, I need another sip. Hold on, man. I'll do my outro. Hold on. Damn! It's getting hot already. So I know I hit you guys with so much content, man. And again, we're coming off our best month ever for the month of July. And so far, the first week of August, the trajectory numbers-wise is actually showing even better than July. So this is absolutely, this has just been a wild ride, man. And I'm glad that all my AMP unit is, all of you guys, man. Everybody, from tried and true long-time subs to brand new subs. Man, we're doing something really special on this, what was supposed to just be a small ECW type of a channel on this platform, right? People have been doing this much longer, many more years, lots more subs, and I wasn't supposed to make too many splashes, too many waves, right? I was supposed to stay in my little niche. And this, the last 5-6 weeks, man, we're creating some waves, bro. We're getting put on some people's radars, and yeah. I say we keep rocking the fucking boat. What do you say, unit? Much love and respect. You know the deal, man. Coffees and ass whoopings. Think, be, live. Damn it, amplified. Till next time, as they say in one of my favorite movies, man, Dazed and Confused, Slaterson, he says it best. Check you later.